Hey guys, how's it going? It's Blepnir here with another team review, and today we're going to be looking over a really fun team that I ran featuring my new shiny Lickilicky. Now, Lickilicky is one of my very favorite Pokemon, just in general. I love how it looks. I love the shiny specifically, and the way that the shiny kind of looks like a golden Buddha. The shiny Lickitung and shiny Lickilicky are both beautiful Pokemon in my opinion. The problem is that the Lickilicky kind of gets outshined by the Lickitung in the Open Great League, I feel like, because of the fact that Lickitung has access to Power Whip, which I think is in general a little bit of a stronger coverage move than Shadow Ball. That being said, we actually aren't running Shadow Ball on this Lickilicky, and the reason why is because I don't have any charge TMs. You know, the frustration event is actually going on as we speak, and I actually have 0 charge TMs, so I'm definitely not going to be wasting any on changing my Lickilicky from whatever move it has to Shadow Ball. But that being said, it just happens to have Earthquake as its second move. I Elite TM'd Body Slam as its primary move. And you're going to see that in general, I think that Licky is just better with Shadow Ball. So if you can change it to Shadow Ball, I would recommend it. I think it also gets like Mega Horn or something. But in general, I think it really struggled with Earthquake. I was hoping to be able to catch some Steel types like Empoleon off guard. I actually managed to catch a couple of Drapions off guard and switch the matchup against Drapion. But the problem is Earthquake is such an expensive move, and by the time you get to Earthquake, I think that you're just one lick away from double Body Slam. And unless Earthquake is double super effective, such as versus Bastiodon, usually 2 neutral Body Slams will do more damage than a super effective Earthquake. 2 resisted Body Slams will do slightly less. And obviously versus Bastiodon, that's the best situation for Earthquake Lickilicky. I think that I have one battle versus Bastiodon. But that being said, Bastiodon can actually survive the Earthquake from Lickilicky with enough health that you have to throw another Earthquake to take it out. You can't even throw a Body Slam. And I'm not sure if you guys know about like matchups in general, but that's a really bad sign, is that if you have to throw 2 Earthquakes to take out the Bastiodon, then I mean it's just very energy inefficient. In the Hisui Cup, the Munchlax is also allowed. So I mean, Munchlax has access to Bulldoze, so I would argue that Munchlax is actually a better matchup for the Bastiodon, just in general, because Bulldoze is a slightly less expensive move, and 2 Bulldozes take out the Bastiodon, whereas it also takes 2 Earthquakes to take out Bastiodon. So in general, I had trouble with Earthquake on the Lickilicky, but that doesn't take away from the fact that these were some very fun battles regardless, and even single moved with Body Slam. Lickilicky is just so fun to use. I had a great time today, and I was very grateful that for once Lickitung isn't around. The only competition that Lickilicky really had was with Munchlax. There's usually quite a few normal types in the meta, so I'm grateful to be able to power up and use my Lickilicky here. So without further ado, let's look at these battles. So first off, we have battle versus Saver Avocado. And Saver Avocado, if you guys don't know, is a fantastic battler. She's in my Discord. She's a common sight on Twitch and Discord, the Pokemon Go scene in general. She's a huge Little Cup fan, I think. And so we are going to give her the win regardless of if we actually beat her here. But I actually threw the Earthquake with the Licky, so that's just showing in general how expensive the Earthquake is, and she shielded. So I do regret throwing the Earthquake. Looking back, if I had thrown that Body Slam and the opponent shielded there, I would have been in a much better spot, because I could have threatened switch if I had taken that match to the 2 shields. I don't think I'd take it to the 2 shields, but at least I might have gotten 2 Body Slams off, it looks like. Like I said before, 2 Body Slams cost almost the same amount as the Earthquake when you're charging up with licks. So, like I said, if I played that matchup out again, I would have thrown to straight Body Slam. But hindsight is 2020, right? So we are just going to move on. And Saber kind of kicked our ass here. The Frostlass, I don't know if you guys have been experiencing this, but Frostlass is the most common lead. It is a very good lead, especially with Triple Axel, in my opinion. It completely sweeps my team if people use it correctly. But good game there. And then next up we have Magnezone. And so usually if there is no threat of the opponent knocking me out with a single move, I recommend over farming. Here I throw right when I get to the energy ball. Oops, I accidentally swiped out my screen there. But so I would actually recommend over farming there. Even though I got the defense drop, there's really no need to throw the energy ball immediately. The energy ball does around the same amount as the wild charge. It's a little more expensive. So in the end, I end up winning that matchup in the 2 shields, which is pretty good for me, but I did debuff my defense. And obviously, we're going to be getting the shield from the Gastrodon that comes in. This is a very common team, right? It's the Gastrodon and the Electrode Core. I'm sorry, not Electrode, the Magnezone and the Gastrodon Core. And so this is actually not looking so great. I was thinking to myself, if this was an Earth Power, I wanted to shield it up, but I was afraid it was going to be a Body Slam. They go straight for the Earth Power, much respect. Then they go for the Body Slam. So this is not a great situation for me. I do throw the Earthquake. The reason why I throw the Earthquake is because I'm not getting to 2 moves. I get very low, but the opponent instantly swaps into Cresselia. If they stayed in with the Gastrodon, they could have probably just swept my team with Gastrodon, to be honest. But luckily, they actually quit there after they switched into Cresselia. And that's a good example right there of just when you sometimes you want to stay in, right? I know it's very enticing to switch out into your final Pokemon if you're in that type of situation. But I think that they could have won that game if they stayed in with Gastrodon. But moving on, we have a Gliscor in the lead versus our Electrode. This is an interesting matchup between these 2 Pokemon. But I'm just going to throw the Wild Charge once I get to the Energy Ball. I'm not really sure how to play that matchup. It's just a really interesting matchup in general because Earthquake takes so long for the Gliscor to get to. But I thread the Energy Ball, I throw the Wild Charge, which is not too bad because 2 Wild Charges take them out. I go into the Licky, and boom, the Earthquake takes them out. That's why you want to run Earthquake. This is the one matchup with the Drapion because of the fact that the Drapion knows that they can survive a Body Slam, and I can't farm them down after a Body Slam with resisted licks. That's really satisfying, is landing the Earthquake there. So I'm glad that I was able to at least do that a few times. I didn't see Drapion on the safe swap too often, unfortunately, with this team. Maybe as the meta changes, you'll see that more often. But they come back in with Gliscor, and this is a weakness of the team, is after the Licky is taken out, suddenly you don't have any fast move pressure against Gliscor. They come in with Empoleon, and we are looking just fine here because we have a good amount of health left on our Hisui and Electrode. So we are just going to shield up the Drapion, and we also have a shield advantage, I should say. We use that first shield. We have 2 shields. The opponent has 1 shield. And they're just going to let this go, which is fair because they might be banking on the fact that I don't have Aqua Tail. But as you guys probably know, if you're playing the Hisui Cup, if you're running Shadow Drapion especially, you're going to be running Aqua Tail to have that cheap bait move. They do undercharge that Night Slash here. But yeah, I guess I think that I saw 1 regular Drapion with Sludge Bomb. But even regular Drapion, I would definitely recommend Aqua Tail because you're often going to find your Drapion aligned to Bastiodons. If you're using the team in the way that I'm using it. And it just in general, I think Bastiodon is very common in the meta right now. And Aqua Tail Drapion does quite well versus Bastiodon, and also versus the Gliscor, I should say. And just as a bait move, it does fantastic. So moving on, we have another Magnezone here, and this is so good for me. Magnezone has a very negative matchup versus Electrode, and they usually stay in. The reason why they stay in is because oftentimes a Magnezone is hiding a Gastrodon in the back. So let's see if they have Gastrodon here. They do let the Energy Ball go, of course, because we can never farm them down after the Energy Ball. They do Wild Charge. That is double resisted, but you wouldn't know it looking at how much damage it does. 2 Wild Charges do take out the Electrode. They do shield. This is going to be just a mirror shot because we debuffed our defense. The mirror shot would almost take us out. And so I switch into the Licky. And the reason why I switch here is because I know that I can take them out in 4 licks. And they have to survive 5 licks in order to get to their mirror shot. They need 1 more Volt Switch. And so they have this double Ghost backline, and I'm just kicking myself now. Like, I think that I threw this game because I don't have access to Shadow Ball. If I had Shadow Ball, this would be a very easy end game here. But I don't. So I'm just going this Body Slam. I'm going to switch immediately into the Electro. The reason why I switch immediately is because I want to force them to throw their move or just get to this Wild Charge if I don't force the move. I should have undercharged that more because now the Frostlass just gets a really good farm here. I think they were still switch locked into the Drifblim, so we should have undercharged and allowed the Drifblim to survive because of the fact that they got so much energy. But we know they have Triple Axle. They showed Triple Axle, and we can let Triple Axle go. At this point, an Aqua Tail plus a Body Slam takes out the Frostlass. And you might remember that we did save that Body Slam onto the Licky. That's why we're not going for Crunch. There's no need to go for Crunch when we have the Body Slam. We do switch into the Licky. If you guys don't know, if you switch after you throw a move or after the opponent throws a move, you actually should get a 0-turn switch. Whereas if you switch while fast moves are going off, you will not get that 0-turn switch. So we were able to safely switch out and throw the move there. Whereas if we had tried to switch out while the opponent was throwing moves, there was a very good chance that we would just get taken out by a Powder Snow. But moving on to this next matchup, on the safe swap here, we safe swap Licky. They safe swap in Toxicroak. We throw the Earthquake, and unfortunately they shielded up, and this is not good. We almost wish that we had thrown the Body Slam in the hopes that we got off 2 Body Slams, but it looks like we wouldn't have gotten to 2 Body Slams anyway versus this Toxicroak. But we do shield up the Shadow Ball correctly, and that is huge. The opponent could have probably safely just baited with a Mud Bomb, but because we shield up the Shadow Ball, we're able to get to double Wild Charges, and that is amazing because We do grab a shield on Frostlass with Wild Charge. This is not nearly over, though, because they're going to CMP Ties to the move, and they already have a lot of energy. I think that they're almost at the double triple axle, but they're not quite at it yet. And they actually live that move with a little bit of energy, with a little bit of health and energy, and then they have a Bibarel in the back. So the reason why I let that move go instead of shielding up the triple axle is because of the fact I was relying on them having a water type in the back. And you guys saw they did indeed have the water type in the back. We were able to sweep that team, and thankfully that won us the game. So yeah, if they lead a Frostlass, then oftentimes they are going to be weak to grass in the back. And that's a tip for you guys, is sometimes it's okay to throw away the Drapion as long as you're able to sweep in the back with Electrode. Okay, so next up we have Toxicroak lead. This is a pretty bad matchup for us. The Toxicroak can just take us out with Mud Bombs after all the counter pressure, but we are able to actually take both shields because they farmed up so much, and their energy isn't going to go very far into the Licky. This is the strength of Licky, is most Toxicroaks are running Shadow Ball, and the Licky can just absorb that Shadow Ball, and they go into Drifblim here. This is fine. We wouldn't have gone to a Shadow Ball anyway on our Licky. So it's fine to throw this Body Slam, and Crunch will just take them out after this Body Slam chip damage. They're going to throw an Icy Wind here, and we could have overfarmed more. I'm not sure why we didn't overfarm. I think that we could have overfarmed at least 3. But that's fine. We actually want them to throw. So we wanted them to throw a move there. The reason why is because I know that they're switch locked. They are switch locked. They were switch locked into the Drifblim, and I could just farm them down with Electrode. And I know that I can easily survive one Surf from the Empoleon. So as long as I got those two Thundershocks in, I would always get to that Wild Charge. We take out the Empoleon, and that is a good game. So we have another Frostlass lead, the most common lead in the meta, and I like to play this out different ways. This time around, I'm going for the Wild Charge. Let's see how that works out. We go for the Wild Charge. They do shield. They're going to shield every time because the Wild Charge would just about take them out, and they have a Toxicroak in the back. So here, I believe we're going to go for the Earthquake. Honestly, you can go for the Body Slam. Okay, so we go for the Body Slam. And if you take them out with Earthquake, it's not even the best thing in the world. So yeah, we actually, they let that go. And you might think that it's a bad thing that they let a Body Slam go instead of us just doing the Earthquake. You saw there that I mistimed my moves. I could have actually probably gotten to 2 Body Slams, which would have been fantastic. But as it stands, this is not the end of the world, because if we took them out with an Earthquake, they would have been able to Powder Snow down our Licky. And in this situation, we're actually able to Powder Snow down the Toxicroak. And then here you see this horrible situation where we actually did not get off our charge move. We wanted to throw immediately because Electrode does win CMP over Frostlass, and I have a very attack-weighted Electrode, Hisui Electrode. So that was actually pretty tragic. Luckily, the opponent throws the game here. They could have just stayed in with Frostlass and just swept with Frostlass, because even after a crunch, Frostlass does not get taken out. So that was a misplay. Okay, I guess that they get taken out, but they would have gone to a triple axle. They would have even gotten to a Shadow Ball, which would have gotten the Shadow Drapion into farm down mode, into farm down range. I don't know why I said mode. It's weird terminology, but anyways, it would have gotten them to farm down range. And so, yeah, they should have just stayed in there versus the Shadow Drapion. But that's fine. That's just a tip for the opponent there, is that it's not always a smart decision to swap out, just like we saw with the Cresselia earlier on in the video. Anyways, here we have our good friend Dino, beginner to winner Dino, who is just a huge supportive member of the community. We do manage to land the Earthquake. Boom! That's a lot of damage, but it's not enough damage. It's kind of insane because that's super effective. And it's a big move. Earthquake is one of the biggest ground type moves in the game, and it didn't even get the Bastion into the red health, so that's kind of pathetic. We have to go for another Earthquake there. A Body Slam would do like 5% of their health, something insanely low like that. So that's just showing how pathetic Earthquake really is. Unless you have a situation where where shields are down, or you have your Licky aligned to a Drapion, it's really not going to do very much. But here, I do farm up as much as possible. I farm up right until they get to their next Stone Edge, which is after 9 Poison Stings. And because I farm up as much as possible, this is a good example of why farming up is so important. We're able to get all this energy. I should have just swapped out immediately into the Hisuian Electrode, because if I swapped out immediately into Hisuian Electrode, it would have been an even easier win. I also could have just stayed in with Drapion versus the Shadow Gallade, but we do just win that matchup anyway. Sweeping with the Electrode, the Hisuian Electrode. I'm telling you guys, Hisuian Electrode absolutely goes off. It's a great sweeper. It's also a great lead, so you can put it pretty much anywhere in the team. I wouldn't recommend it as a safe swap, though, because it just gets hard-walled by so many things. But, yeah, we do let that game go. We surrender to the great Dino because we are just trying to get people to hit Legend here, folks. If you guys have faced me and you want me to surrender games to you, just contact me on YouTube or on Discord or on Twitch, and I will do so because I do want to give out those wins. I do want people to hit Legend. I don't really care about winning games, but I will win those games if I have to, just because that's what I got to do to maintain ELO. But I am happy to give away the free ELO once I hit Legend. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Just let me know in the comments down below. Let me know how your teams have been doing in the Hisui Cup, and if you're playing Great League, how your teams are doing in the Great League. I'm always happy to talk to you guys about that. And if you guys have a Licky, I highly recommend it. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.